stays in focus. All right, so on the side of the paper, you are taking your head template and you are tracing it 7 times. It does help to have the division line between them because that's where we're going to line up our ruler. So where the 2 heads meet, where the top and the bottom meet, go ahead and draw the line. Within each head, we need to number. So here would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is how we want to set up our paper to help us with our measurements and our proportions of the human figure. So again, you're tracing the head 7 times, and then you're numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the heads. You should have your head drawn at the top of your page, right? So this should be match up exactly with number 1. So this should be with number 1. Then we need to draw a line. It's a little ways into number 2 now. So I would say this is like a third of the way in, or like a fourth into number 2. You're going to draw a line. Now this line needs to be a certain length. So if you place the head down, it should be 1.5 heads wide. So I can see right here, mine's not wide enough, okay? So I need to extend my line slightly. When I do that, now it's 1.5 heads wide, the long way. So I'm taking the head, I'm rotating it. So proportions of the shoulders, they are 1.5 head wide. Our next line that we need is right here at 3. At the bottom of 3, we're going to place our ruler and we're going to come over and we're going to make a line. This line should be at least the size of the head. It can be a little bit wider, but probably not too much wider. This is where we're going to place the waist. I like to draw the spine. So from the bottom of my oval here, or the head, I'm going to draw a vertical line to represent the spine of my figure. It's less important when we are drawing our figure straight up and down like we are today, but it helps when we start to do action poses. One of the first things you have to look at is where's the spine in the pose. So it's a good habit to get into, drawing where you have the spine. The other thing that helps when you draw human figures is to use circles anywhere you have a joint. So a joint would be anywhere that the person bends. So we have joints at our shoulders, at our elbows, at our wrists, hips, knees, ankles. Those are the main ones that we are going to be looking at as we draw this. So since these are our shoulders right here, I want you to go ahead and draw a circle at either end. That helps remind us that's a joint. That's where the arm would bend or move. Our next shape that we're going to draw, we're going to angle out slightly here, and then we're going to angle back in. It will not resemble the actual human figure because we're just trying to get things the right size and in the right place, and then we'll go back and refine. Okay, so then from here, I'm going to bring these lines in. You might also go ahead and add a neck. Be careful not to make the neck too skinny. It should be just inside the edges of our oval here to support it. So the next area, we're going to be connecting hips right here. So we would have another joint, okay? So depending on how you've placed things, the knees should fall. So if I line up my ruler with the bottom of 5, the knees should fall pretty close to this area. Now sometimes I make adjustments as I am drawing. And then at the bottom of 7, just a little bit up, so I go like a third or a fourth up, that's where your ankles are going to go. So looking at this, these are up too high, so I'm going to move them down slightly. So this part should be a little bit longer than this part of the leg. Once you have the joints in place, then you're going to go in and add the legs. So they're going to be wider at the top, and they will narrow near the knees. And you can even have it overlap if you want to keep with those shapes, the rounded shapes. And then the same with the lower part of the leg, wider at the top, narrower as you approach the ankles. Now, here's what I want you to avoid. Do not draw your feet like this. We do not stand and walk like this, all right? That would be very uncomfortable. Our feet point forward to help balance us. So when we draw that, our drawings should reflect that. So when you go in here to draw the feet, you're going to have them forward, but slightly angled. So the left foot, I have an oval pointing forward, but slightly to the left. For the right foot, I have an oval pointing slightly to the right. So go ahead and add your feet there. A common mistake that I see with the arms, thinking that our hands end at our waist, okay? Notice if I put my hands on my waist, my arms bend, okay? So it helps to look at where do your fingertips fall. So you might think about, are they halfway down your leg, okay? So if it helps to stand up and kind of check, that would help you kind of see the proportions, because a lot of times I see nice long legs on the figures and itty bitty arms. We're going to start with elbows. Elbows fall slightly above our waist. So if my waist is right here, you can see my elbows above my waist, okay? So if we see our waist is at 3, our elbows should be in the middle of 3. So if I use my ruler, sometimes it helps to have the ruler there. So halfway into 3, I'm making a mark for my elbows to be. Wrists, I like to put at the halfway of 4. So if you find head number 4, go ahead and draw where the wrist would go. And at the bottom of 4, that's where I'm going to have the fingertips end, or round out my shapes for the arms. So I'm going to start with an oval shape here, an oval shape here, an oval shape for the hand. And do the same thing up here. Oval shape for this arm, oval shape for this arm, oval shape for the hands. So this gets you your basic proportions, okay? This would be like if we were looking at a mannequin here, okay? It doesn't necessarily represent the human figure exactly, but it's got things in the general spots that they need to be. So the general sizes and the general spots that they need to be. So the next part would be cleaning it up and making it look more like a person, okay? So I'm going to show you what this looks like on one side, and I'm going to leave the proportions on the other side so that you have a reference that you can refer to. So this is a big no-no, okay? Too often I see necks drawn like this. Our neck does not form an L shape, okay? Our neck actually curves. So we are going to take and refine this. So you would bring the neck into the shoulders at a curve. And then you would bring the shoulders angled down slightly and then curve at the edge of the shoulder into the arm. So you have 2 curves here. Now here's one of the areas that you need to make a decision. If you're going for a more masculine person, you would have a more broad shoulder. So you'd make this more upright and broad. If you're going for a more feminine shoulder, you would have it a softer curve and not sticking out quite so far, okay? So once you have your line placement, that's when you start into the arms. Again, males tend to have bigger muscles at the top of the arms, not all the time, but so you could make your upper arm wider. And then it starts to narrow as you near the elbow. So your arm narrows as you near the elbow. Okay, again, you can look at the angle of the torso. So broader chest for males. So you could leave this wider and then bring it in. And then for here, when you get past the elbow, it does come out just a little bit, and then it narrows again as you near the hand. So that creates the shape of the arm. And then for the hand, a lot of times when we have our hands at the side, we're actually seeing the hand from the side, not the backs of the hands or the fronts of the hands. We see a side view. So it helps if you curve. So it's like you're seeing the fingers kind of curving around here, and then your thumb actually comes in and overlaps with the hand a little bit. So it would be a shape kind of like this for the hand. So that would be a more refined arm. Okay, then for the torso, so again, it'd be out towards the chest, come in towards the waist. Again, it goes out towards the hips and into the thighs. Then it comes in towards the knees. The knees actually have a little slight curve outwards. And then the legs tend to be wider toward the top because that's where your calves are. And then they narrow as you approach the ankle and the shins. So you'd bring these in more. And then for the foot, again, it would be coming forward. Your heel would be back here. Your toes would be more forward. And then you can go in and erase the lines that you no longer need. Don't be afraid to make it wider. So I noticed that we tend to go super skinny for the legs and super skinny for the arms. It's okay to make them a little bit wider. It will feel more like a realistic human.